Formula 1 arrives in Miami for the US Grand Prix, and it is our inaugural race here at this circuit. But there is a story that just won't go away, and that's the tension that's happening down at McLaren between Sam and Zak Brown, and it also includes Mercedes-Benz. So what's been going on if you are new? Well, what happened is a couple of weeks ago, Mercedes-Benz hosted an automotive car show, signalling all the success of not only their Formula 1 team this season, but some of their new road cars that they've got in production, and in the end, just having one of those special events. Spotted at the event was Sam, who was alongside the likes of Hamilton, Tom, and Toto Wolff during this event, which really upset quite a lot of the team around Sam, who's at McLaren. They were not quite happy that he was where he was, and it just didn't feel right and settle well with the team. Now, Tom defended this initially, saying that Sam is a good friend of his no matter what team that they're at. Obviously, the two of them have been teammates in the past as well, and it was a personal invite from himself to Sam to come along to the Mercedes Auto Show and just have a good evening. Well, Zak Brown has confirmed that there's been an internal meeting that has been held between himself and Sam, with details of the meeting being left private between the team and driver, with both failing to comment during Thursday's press conference as to what was said and how the resolution went from that meeting. However, the rumours around the paddock are that this relationship probably won't last, and there's an expectation that Sam could well leave the team at the end of the season if this is the way they're going to react to him getting on with his own life outside of Formula 1. But that's only just a rumour, and hopefully they can try and put things behind them as they look to try and chase Ferrari down in the Formula 1 World Constructors' Championship. Taking a look at the race news then heading into this weekend, Lewis Hamilton was the fastest man in practice, the Mercedes driver dominating in FP1 and FP2, and also going fastest in FP3. But that doesn't mean it's going to be all plain sailing, as throughout the sessions, both Porsche and Ferrari were slowly getting closer towards Lewis Hamilton as the sessions went on, and were very competitive in the race runs. Meanwhile, Hamilton's Mercedes teammate Tom was struggling a lot with the rear grip of his car. He was really struggling, especially in the high-speed corners of the first sector, with a couple of spins as he went around on his runs. It's been noted that throughout the second half of the season, Tom has really been struggling with the rear end of the Mercedes-Benz, saying that it is extremely lively and just doesn't suit him at all. And obviously on this occasion, it is once again catching him out. Now, McLaren were a team that didn't really show much throughout practice, but having a look at some of the data, it is suggested that they may well have been running with a lower engine mode compared to the drivers and teams around them. This could potentially propel McLaren further up the order as we head into qualifying and obviously the race. And speaking of that, let's get straight into it. Yo, how's it going, guys? It is Foxydude here. Welcome back to a brand new video and yet another episode of the F1 journey for you guys. Today here on the channel, we are here for the second to last round of the season. It is the US Grand Prix here in Miami. The first time we are racing actually at this Miami circuit in the F1 journey universe, so I'm very much looking forward to it. If you haven't joined today's video, feel free to drop the video a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here as well. And let's get cracking with qualifying, which unfortunately got interrupted on my first final lap here as I was going for the overtake here on Callum Ilott. For some reason, he then decided on the back straight with the DRS to go and try and make a move, and then he made contact with me at the exit of the last corner, and well, quite frankly, it just completely destroyed my lap. So I went out for a second flying lap, and on that lap I never even improved. But I just decided to hold up Callum Ilott on his lap because he screwed over mine. Now, as you can see here, though, on our final flying lap here, we're currently 6/10 or 8/10 up now in this final sector here. Make that 9/10. We've gone purple through the middle sector now. We've been going purple through that middle sector pretty much this entire weekend. But it's the first and final sectors that are really causing us some problems as we make our way now down towards the final corner here. This is where we lost a lot of time from crashing with Callum Ilott. This time around that we just take too much curb there on the inside, completely derailing our motivation here. And as you can see now, we're making our way round the final corner, crossing the start-finish line to start P9. So here we are then for the start of the US Grand Prix. It's a one-stop strategy, medium to the hard compound tyres, and we've got a little bit of work to do to gain a couple of places in this Grand Prix, starting a bit further down than we would like. So let's get ourselves up the order then. So let's get this race underway and see what we can do. It's a decent getaway from us, unlike last time at the Mexican Grand Prix, where we really just didn't get going as we get very close there to the back of Pato Ward, but around the outside of Award into turn 1 as we just slide a little bit there on the exit of 2, and that just allows Oscar Piastri to come back through there, so he regains his position off the start line. But for us though, it's a decent start. We've gained a place as we make our way now through the first sector, but we just get this bit wrong. Award tries to come back at us now, heading in towards the finale of the sector 1 of this lap here. As you can see now, back in sliding a little bit here, really struggling, and that's what we've been struggling with all weekend long. As you can see, we're just trying to get the power down for as long as we possibly can, and now we're on the straight here. Unfortunately though, I've not got the slipstream from Piastri in front, so Award here is going to be loving this, but Pato on the second phase now of this straight, really going for it. One of the Audis is trying to go down our inside as well as Award on the outside. I have to be super careful there with the driving to make sure that I don't make contact with either driver. Unfortunately, we haven't done that. Now this portion of the lap here, this really slow section, is where you gain so much time on the AIs because they're incredibly slow here, no matter what difficulty you put it on. But then there's stuff like this when they just get the power down and you've got no hope in hell of trying to match what they've just done there on acceleration. So we kind of just have to live with it, see what we can do, and just go from there basically, and try and move forwards now as we make our way into the braking zone of the last corner, and again hitting that curve a little bit too heavily. Very difficult corner to get right, but as we make our way now down through towards the end of the first lap, Sam leads this Grand Prix as he started this race from pole position. For us, we make just the one place up into 8th, but we're very much in this Grand Prix. Taking a look at the lights though, as you can see here, Sam actually got a fantastic start, gets away beautifully off the line there in pole position, and he gets nearly dive bombed there by Reese into turn 1, who's trying to defend the position from Stoffel Van Dorn there. For us though, like I said, we got past Piastri, but on the exit of turn 2, we just struggled a little bit to get the power down. The back end slid out on us, and unfortunately, it just meant that Piastri got the run in here. This is on board here with Lando Norris now, as he makes his way in towards turn 1. Hamilton getting very close there. Also, Sainz trying to get involved in the mix here. Norris now is trying to battle away with Sainz until Sainz gets the better of him and stays in front. Now, as they go towards the middle sector here, Norris has a little look, but eventually it acquires to absolutely nothing. On board here now with Stoffel Van Dorn. This is his start sequence. So again, look, he's got a better start than Reese off the line, but Reese just charges it into turn 1, and somehow he's not made contact with the back of Sam there and lost his front wing. Hamilton then tried to go up Van Dorn's inside, but again, back end sliding for Van Dorn there, but he's alright, he's in one piece. Lap 2 of the Grand Prix now. No DRS yet in this Grand Prix, but we're struggling a little bit here, especially in this first sector. Really slow compared to the rest of the AIs, and that's allowing now Pato Award to have another look at us here to try and regain this 8th place in the US Grand Prix. As here comes Award now, using up some of his battery here on this straight. He goes towards the outside line, and we'll give ourselves the inside line into this hairpin, and that's exactly what we do, and we are absolutely fine. No problems whatsoever. Position retained. Now we just need to try and focus and start getting onto the back of these drivers. Lap 3 of the Grand Prix, and the DRS has now been enabled, so we get a clumsy track warning limit there for going a little bit over the limits of what we need to be doing. But now, as you again look, we're just so quick through this slow set of corners that we're going to catch Piastri napping a little bit here and go down the inside of Oscar, and we make ourselves up a place there, up into 7th now in the US Grand Prix. DRS will be enabled on this straight here to give us a little bit of a boost here, but Piastri is quite close to the rear end of our car, so we've got to be careful here because this is where Oscar's going to close on us now with the slipstream and the DRS. But we've just got enough in hand there to stay in front of him. If we didn't have the DRS then on the Red Bull in front, we'd be in a lot of trouble. But we do have that, so we're absolutely fine as the Porsche drivers set in the fastest laps of the race so far. Speaking of the Porsche drivers, here they are. Sam leading this US Grand Prix, but he's got Reese right behind him now with the DRS going to be enabled for the Porsche driver. He actually closes his DRS there just for a second momentarily, reopens it again now to make his move on Sam here, down the inside in towards this sort of stadium-ish section, the Mickey Mouse part of the track, should we call it, as he makes his way looping around now, desperately trying to get on the power first, and he does so. So a great move there from Reese, but just a couple of corners later, the DRS then flips, goes back into Sam's favour. So Sam now with the DRS here down in towards the last corner, and he retakes the lead of the US Grand Prix, but he's got a big train of cars behind him now in this Grand Prix as they fly now down the straight here. Reese will go back into attack mode because the DRS will be enabled into his favour down this pit straight. Lap 5 of the Grand Prix, and it's onto the back straight now for another attack here for Reese, and he's going to have the DRS coming up momentarily. Right now, there it goes. So now he's opening up the flap in his rear wing, gives him a lot less drag down the straights, and he can use this now to give himself the benefit of an overtaking opportunity. Instead of the inside, he goes to the outside this time around. And as you can see here, it's very close, very tight there. But I think Sam is just going to hold on in there. It's really nip and tuck between the two of them now as they make their way through. And Sam does about stay ahead of Reese on that occasion. But it was really close then between those lot. As we look a little bit further back here, we're trying to do the same maneuver as what we've done on the last lap. Oh, not on the last lap, but about 2 laps ago. And that is make a move on a driver in that Mickey Mouse section. It's to stop Van Dorn this time around. But Van Dorn gets a better drive though on the straight here. And fair play to the Red Bull. It's not normally been a car that's been great in a straight line, but on this occasion, it's been fine. Big lock up there for Van Dorn. We send it down the inside into the last corner, and we're up into 6th place now in the US Grand Prix. Van Dorn under pressure from Piastri behind those, so the DRS will be enabled for Van Dorn and for Piastri. Oscar, though's got the slipstream that he can use, but Van Dorn's got him nicely covered off. Good defensive driving there from him. But on to lap 6 of the Grand Prix, we're up into 6th. Nice job. Next up the road though is our championship rival Lewis Hamilton, who has a 2-point lead at the top of the championship as things stand in this Grand Prix. Back at the front though, Sam with DRS now coming at the back of Reese here, who's not got the DRS. He's the man that's going to be dragging all these cars along, and Sam goes down the inside of Reese there, but Reese does a great job at defending the position and he stays in front. But unfortunately, just a couple of corners later, there's more DRS zones. And look what we've got going on here now. We've got at least 7 cars involved in a great old battle. I think it's actually 8 cars that are involved in this. We've got Sam 1, Reese 2, Sainz 3, the 2 Ferraris, the 2 Mercedeses, and the Red Bull. We've got 8 cars here, if my maths is correct, really going for it now in this race. You can see that we're all in DRS range of each other, which is just crazy to see as we now make our way through on lap 7 here. Reese now is really trying to pressurize Sam here as they go in towards the last corner. Will Reese get the job done with DRS? You bet he can. Job done for Reese, and he is through and up into the lead of this race. Sam desperate though to try and get the move back. He tries to stay alongside him there, but it doesn't work out for him. But he could have a run here down in towards turn 1. It's not impossible for him to try, but he's got to watch Sainz though on his inside here. And now all of a sudden Sam is desperately trying to see if there's somewhere that he can go here to try and make a move stick. It's not going to work though, because round the outside Sainz takes 2nd place in this Grand Prix. We've got a Porsche 1-2 now in the US Grand Prix, and for us though, we're just chomping at the bit. But we've got to be patient. We cannot afford to make a silly move and try and take places when theoretically, with all this battling going on, is behind us there, we've got a driver trying to go past us. I think that's the Red Bull there. But all I was trying to say is we can easily just try and send it up the inside, but there's a cluster of cars, but we can't afford to break our front wing. We can't afford any major damages in this championship race. All these drivers around us can just go hell for leather and just give it everything they've got. We can't afford to do that. Me or Hamilton can't afford to do that. What we can afford is to catch Hamilton napping down the inside in towards the tricky braking zone of the hairpin. We get past Sam, and just moments later, a few corners later, we're going to go around the outside of Sam here and get this one done as well. So some brilliant intuitive overtaking maneuvers there, and we're getting super aggressive now, covering off Sam. I did not want him to have the inside line. Sam will come back at us though. He has got the DRS now down this straight. We've got it as well. Sam just edged ahead. He just tries to close us off, but he can't close us off enough. Down the inside we go, in towards the tricky braking zone. Now we're going to go through the last corner, and we're up into 4th place now in the US Grand Prix as the DRS gets enabled down the straight. Hamilton now fancies a run on Sam down and towards turn 1. Not going to work for the Hamilton on that occasion, and this is problematic now for Lewis Hamilton as we start to make our charge through the field here. Hamilton's got to get past these cars here. He's got the lead in the championship, but as things stand, he'll lose that lead in the championship with us scoring a maximum of 12 points so far. Hamilton scoring 8. The gap would be 2 points in my favour in the championship. As you can see though, the 2 Porsche drivers want a battle for supremacy, because here comes the Reese and Sainz now down the straight here. Who's got the DRS? Sainz gets the DRS and he's through. Past Reese then as Lando Norris has a little look there to think, can I get past? Maybe, maybe not. Lap 10 of the Grand Prix now, and you can see the 2 Porsche drivers still giving it everything here to try and take the lead of the race, but this is where it gets very difficult here. This is where you have to be so patient, because they will break suddenly on you, and you just have to watch out not only in front of you, but behind you. But funnily enough, despite the fact Sam's having to go at us behind, it's actually going to be Lando Norris that's going to be the one in trouble, because the back end slides heavily there through the exit of that corner. But we're job done, and we're up into 3rd place now in the US Grand Prix. But we have a big problem here. I've got no DRS. I wasn't in the detection zone of any of the Porsche cars, so we have been absolutely swamped now in this Grand Prix. Lando Norris gets past us. Sam gets back past us. Hamilton's trying to go down our inside as we speak right now, but we can hold off Hamilton and we can go down the straight for another attack here now as Sam tried to have a go at Lando Norris down in towards the last corner, in towards turn 1 though. Hamilton is under pressure for Piastri. We're going down the inside of Sam into turn 1. Big braking move there from ourselves to take the position back up into 4th place in what has been a roller coaster of a Grand Prix so far. And trust me, we are not done yet. So let's get back to the action then at the front of the field. The 2 Porsche cars going hammer and tongs for positions now. Sainz here is going for a move now on Reese. Round the outside in towards the hairpin. Let's see if he can make this move stick. Oh, it's contact there between the 2 drivers. That won't go down well with them. But Sainz just about gets in front there. We're trying to go around the outside there of Lando Norris. You can see us in the background, desperately trying to see if we can wiggle our way through. We're going to try it now. Down the inside. Then that switches to the outside. Flip that to the inside. Job done. 3rd place is back in our grasp again. And now it's on to the chase of the 2 Porsche cars. But look at this. We've got 8 cars all gagging for a position on the top step of the podium. But one thing I'm gagging for is some DRS, because yet again I didn't get it, and again I'm going to get mugged off now by Lando Norris. I'm going to get mugged off by Sam, who's going to go to the inside line. Then he goes back onto the racing line. We'll dummy that and go back to the inside line, make the overtake stick here, get past Sam now for 4th place back in this Grand Prix. And Hamilton says, actually, thank you very much, Tom, for doing some good work for once. He's actually overtaken Sam there, which is a bit of a problem for me, but we'll just have to live with it. Lap 12 of the Grand Prix, and it's time to get our brains working here, because we're going to do something different. We're going to box at the end of this lap. Now, my pit window was not for another lap or two's time, but the problem that I've got is twice now I've tried to overtake Lando Norris and get ahead, and it's not worked. So what I want to do is pit earlier than everybody else. The rest of the field right now, they're all just battling really, really hard. So the plan of action is if I can get onto these hard compound tyres, get them warmed up quickly, and obviously there's plenty of places, especially in the Mickey Mouse section later on the lap, where I can utilise the grip of fresh rubber. Hopefully I can undercut the entire field, and if I can build myself a gap that's just outside of DRS range for them not to challenge me, if they keep battling with each other, then I might be able to pull away. It's a strange gamble, but we've got to try something. You know, we're in a very difficult race here. There's 8 drivers battling for this championship race win. So let's see what we can do then. In towards turn 1. Here comes the Porsche now. Carlos Sainz out of the pits, and it's super close there between ourselves and Carlos Sainz, but we've got the jump on the Porsche driver. So the undercut has worked then on Carlos Sainz, and now a lap later here, down in towards the first corner we go, braking hard and braking late into the first corner. There comes the Ferrari of Lando Norris now out of the pits, and guess what? The undercut has worked. We now lead the US Grand Prix. A masterstroke of a strategical decision there has allowed us to now take the lead here of the US Grand Prix. Sainz doesn't want any of what we've just done there. He's trying to go down the inside here of Lando Norris now, and he just about makes that one stick, but Norris now will come back at him. But crucially, just what I said was going to happen in this race. They are battling, and there is us in the lead, and it looks like Sam and Reese are a little bit detached there further back. They're battling away. Don't be fooled, by the way. The McLaren that you're watching that's currently right behind these two battling really hard of Sainz and Lando Norris is Pato O'Ward. He pitted very early in the Grand Prix. Must have had some damage. So at the moment, O'Ward is running in 4th place, but he's out of position in this Grand Prix as Sainz there tries to come back at Lando Norris, but Norris now has picked himself up in this Grand Prix and wants to get involved in the action now as they make their way down the straight here. Here comes Carlos Sainz for a move down around the outside even, and gets the job done before they even get to the corner as he makes that move stick. But like I just said, a couple of corners later, honestly, it's just absolute mental chaos now in this Grand Prix. Lando Norris makes the move down the inside into the last corner, but crucially, they're not scrapping too hard, which means that it's just not allowing me to pull away. But you can see there that I'm able to just manage the gap. Of course, my tyres are a little bit older than these drivers. They're about a lap or two's older, so I've got to look after them just a little bit here in this Grand Prix. Make sure that I don't use up my tyres trying to pull away, because they may come back at me later on in this Grand Prix as Sainz there tries to go for a move there on Lando Norris as he goes a little bit wide there actually, and that's given him an opportunity for Pato O'Ward now to try and come through. It's not even an opportunity though for Pato O'Ward, because he goes through, but Carlos Sainz is out of the US Grand Prix. What drama we've got here on lap 17 of the race. The Porsche driver who's been doing so well, battling for the lead of this Grand Prix multiple times, is out of this race, and Lewis Hamilton now is not only going to be promoted 1 place up into 3rd position, he's now going to be promoted 2 places into 3rd position, because he's overtaken Pato O'Ward, who comes into the pits now, and O'Ward's teammate Sam now is embroiled in a really big battle here with Reese now in this race. I actually don't know what happened to Reese, because Reese was leading /2nd in this Grand Prix, and in the span of the pit stops, he's dropped behind the 2 Ferraris and the Mercedes. He must have got held in the pits there, but nevertheless though, Sam is desperate to find a way past Reese, and he's going to try and do that by going around the outside into the sector last corner. That doesn't work work for him. Now they're going to go for a drag race here on the start-finish straight now as the DRS opens up for Sam, and he's going to have that one. Job done, overtake completed on Reese, but as we know, there is still a long way to go in this Grand Prix. Lap 19 of the Grand Prix. Back comes Reese for another attack here on Sam now. Down the inside, into the hairpin now goes Reese, but Sam defends the position nicely and stays ahead. Up front though, Lewis Hamilton here is looking for an attack now on Lando Norris here as they make their way down into the last corner, and it's an easy overtake there for Lewis Hamilton. Not putting up a fight there was Lando Norris here on lap 19 of the Grand Prix, and you can see we still hold the lead out front, but Lewis Hamilton and the two Ferraris are getting closer to the back of my car. Meanwhile, someone that's not getting closer but getting ahead is Reese. He re-overtakes Sam yet again in that battle for 5th place as things stand. Lap 21 of the Grand Prix. I told you that Lewis Hamilton was getting closer. Well, he's really been putting the hammer down now, and he's right on the back of us here. DRS is now ready for Lewis Hamilton to use, and it's time then. The two championship protagonists. 2 points separates us in the Drivers' Championship. Lewis Hamilton is your championship leader as things stand, and we're going to go to battle here now at the start of lap 21 as we make our way down the straight now. Hamilton with the DRS goes to the outside, gets the run now, but we're going to brake later than Lewis Hamilton and defend the position down the inside quite comfortably. But crucially, despite the fact we've got to go gloves off now for this one, remember, the Constructors' Championship is wrapped up in this season. Mercedes-Benz, we've won that already. So for us, there's nothing that can stop us from just going absolutely crazy in this race. But of course, we need to be careful with each other because none of us want to pick up any form of damage between one another's cars. And crucially for Lewis Hamilton's sake here, he doesn't want to waste time battling drivers behind him and losing positions because the Ferrari now is trying to go at him with Lando Norris. Norris now going back at him yet again here. Hamilton not in the DRS range of us now as we make our way down into the last corner here. As you can see here, Hamilton trying to defend the position from Norris here as he just desperately doesn't want to be getting involved in this. He's had a chance now to come at us here, and it's not worked out here because here comes Norris now down the straight here. Hamilton though does get into the DRS range of myself here, so he can use this now to just fight with Norris, but Norris edges ahead here into the first corner, but into 2 and 3 the elbows come out from Lewis Hamilton and he gets the job done, stays in front now, and Lando Norris is under pressure here from Oscar Piastri as Hamilton now looks to just settle down with me and build a bit of a gap before he will inevitably come back at us for another attack here. Piastri gets in front of Norris now as we lead Mercedes 1-2, it's a Ferrari 3-4 in this Grand Prix. Piastri now up into the podium places, but Lando Norris probably won't be too pleased about that one, and he definitely isn't here because he's getting closer now to the back of Oscar Piastri, but he's not got enough left in the tank to really go for it. Lap 24 of the Grand Prix now, and we're still in the lead of this Grand Prix as our recording footage goes all crazy there, which is a bit annoying, but we'll cut out what we cut out. But at the end of the day, we've got replay cameras to show for all of this here as we now make our way down the straight here. Hamilton a little bit further back than he was on this initial tacky on lap 21, but he's got enough here to go for it down the inside now, in towards the hairpin section here. We just closed the door though on Lewis Hamilton, giving him such a tight apex line through there, and the defence is still intact here as again we make our way down the back straight here as we now try to defend the position from Lewis Hamilton. And as you can see, he's got the DRS enabled here. He's getting closer now to the back here. Getting very close now. Audacious move here. Down the inside. Hamilton late on the brakes there. But he doesn't decide to go too deep on the brakes, which means I can pinch his line and then open up my own and take the position back here onto lap 25 of the Grand Prix. We go now in this race. Hamilton's got the DRS down the straight, but it's not enough here to make the move in towards turn 1. We're absolutely fine on that occasion. So now we'll have to wait to the next DRS zone for Lewis Hamilton to make a little bit of a move here as we go a little bit wide through there now. Lewis Hamilton though is open at the taps here. He's trying to go for it now in towards the first sector. This is new from Lewis Hamilton. This is bold. This is brave for the pair of us. Oh, that's so close to contact between ourselves and Lewis Hamilton. We just about hold on in this Grand Prix. What a duel that was through the first sector, giving each other just enough space to go for an attack here. We're now, red light there is flashing. We're less than 10% ERS. We're saving now this portion of the Grand Prix. Hamilton comes back at us. Norris and Piastri now can sense a win here because we're busy scrapping so hard with each other that we're just desperately trying to stay involved in this Grand Prix with each other. Round we go into the stadium section here. Lewis Hamilton just has to stay back for a little bit longer, but what a move that was through the first sector, just giving each other the enough amount of space possible. No extra was needed on that front as we make our way down the back straight here. Now as we make our way towards the final corner to start yet another lap of this US Grand Prix. Hamilton comes again though with the DRS, goes to the outside line. This time though, I've got nothing to defend the position. You can see the red light flashing there. The ERS that we've got in the back of this is very low. And unfortunately for us, I can't defend it any longer as we now make our way down the start finish straight. But we're now in the DRS to Lewis Hamilton. So plan of action, save my ERS and use the DRS to try and attack Lewis Hamilton, and maybe we can try and get it back later on. But of course, Hamilton has been much quicker than us in this latter stage of the race, so annoyingly, I get the feeling he might pull away. But as you can see from lap 26 onwards here, that's not the case. We're actually back on his tail now, and again, we're going to use the DRS here. And what we're going to do, we're going to go for a move, or we're just going to sit back and wait a little bit longer. Now, fancy a move I do. Here we go then. Right, DRS is enabled now down the straight into the last corner. We go a little bit deep though on the brakes. Is that too deep? Just about getting the car slowed down there. We're back in the lead of this Grand Prix now, but that was a really compromised exit from the last corner. I've noticed that. Back comes Hamilton though with the DRS here, down towards turn 1. This is going to get close now between the pair of us here. We've got the inside line. Hamilton's got the outside line. Hamilton gets his elbows out, pushes us wide there, and stays in front. But now here comes Lando Norris for a move now. This is going to be problematic here because he might just go for it in the first sector, just like Hamilton did. But we hold on that front, and no move there for Lando Norris. We cannot afford to drop behind the Ferrari. That will ruin our Grand Prix. Lap 28 of the Grand Prix now, though, for us here. We're back on Hamilton's tail, really close now, as you can see here. There's just a little bit of an issue there on traction, but you can see now we've got 35% of our ERS battery remaining. I'm not using it on this straight because the AIs will dump their battery on this last lap. That's so close. I want to go to the inside, but Hamilton's having none of it now. Down into the last corner. Will Hamilton go late on the brakes? He does, matches me, but round the outside we go. Back into the lead of the US Grand Prix. One more lap to go then in this Grand Prix, and we're on to the main straight here. Now, as you can see, Lewis Hamilton is in DRS range. The two Ferraris that were running 3 and 4 have been passed by Reese in this Grand Prix now. But this is one more chance, one more opportunity for Lewis Hamilton to win the US Grand Prix. Will we win it? Will one of the drivers behind us try and win it? Hamilton goes through, but we switch back on Hamilton. Catch him napping there. The back end slides for Lewis as he's got to correct that now. Making our way through into the stadium section here now. This is the portion of the track where we're faster than the AIs. We can use that to our advantage. Split the screen now here, because if we carry on the straight here, we're dumping half of our battery down this straight. Hamilton, does he have DRS on us? No, he doesn't. He's not got it. Reese has got DRS though. This could be huge for the championship, because if Reese overtakes Lewis Hamilton, all of a sudden that gap in the championship will get ever larger in my favour. Round the last corner for us though. No more challenges, no more threats. We're going to come to the line here to win the US Grand Prix, but who's going to get second? Hamilton across the line. It's a photo finish between Reese and Lewis Hamilton, but Hamilton just takes second place in the US Grand Prix. What a race that was. 8 cars there. We're going for a hammer and tongs throughout the entirety of the Grand Prix, and just about on the last lap there, we hold on and win the US Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton just about, and I mean just about, beat Reese then to take second place, which of course would have been huge for the championship, but alas, Hamilton does stay in front of Reese, and only just. You can see there that it was by 1/100th of a second did Lewis Hamilton hold on to P2 ahead of Reese. We managed to beat Lewis Hamilton by 9/10 of a second in the end, and again, just under a second between myself and Reese as we crossed the line. Lando Norris finishes in P4 for Ferrari, and Oscar Piastri are behind him in P5. You'd say it's a bit of a disappointing finale there for Ferrari. The two of them were pressurising me and Hamilton pretty much all the way to the flag, and then Reese came out of nowhere because he was in a battle actually with Sam further back. But then Reese managed to just get away from Sam, get past the Ferraris, and put us under some real pressure. Speaking of Sam, he finishes in P6, a disappointing one for the pole sitter after a great qualifying session, 2.5 seconds off the race win in the end. But look at that though, the top 6 separated by just 2.5 seconds across the line. What a race. Valtteri Bottas finishes in P7th for a strong showing for Audi, 10.3 seconds off in the end. And then there's a close little trio here. Sergio Perez in P9, Daniel Ricciardo in P10, and Nick de Vries claiming some massive points for BMW, but the gaps between them, 12.280, 12.296, and then 12.354 seconds off the win in the end. Really close between those three drivers, and Lewis Hamilton, crucially, gets the fastest lap of the race of a 1:27.156. So he does claim that bonus point, meaning that the gap doesn't shrink by 7 points, but only by 6. Looking at the second half of the table now, and Callum Ilott finishes in P11 for Jaguar, 12.497 seconds off the race win, with Charles Leclerc finishing in P12 for Audi, 12.6 seconds behind the flag. Mason Woods is 13th for BMW, ahead of George Russell in the second Jaguar in 14th place. And overall, the top 14 was separated by just 13.5 seconds. So that close little duel that I was mentioning for the end of the top 10 between Ricciardo, Perez and De Vries, that also included Ilott, Leclerc, Wood and Russell, so fair play to all of them. Another disappointing race though for Pato O'Ward, P15 for him in the second McLaren car, with Pierre Gasly in 16th place for Renault. Van Dorn finishes down in 17th for Red Bull, and a bit of bad run of form at the moment. And then it's the two Aston Martins, Colton Herta and Theo Porcher, who didn't even make it to the checkered flag, along with Carlos Sainz, who we saw halfway through the Grand Prix stopping at the side of the circuit. But what has that done to the Drivers' Championship as we go into the final round of the season? Well, that victory was huge for us. We now lead the Formula 1 World Drivers' Championship. Lewis Hamilton is second in the championship, but he is only 4 points back in the championship heading into the final round of the season. If we're continuing with our 1-2 finishes, we kind of just need to beat Lewis Hamilton. That's all we got to do. Obviously, we got to beat Lewis Hamilton or hope that Hamilton doesn't outscore us by 4 points or more. Reese is now on 192 points, 38 points off the championship lead, which does mean it is a straight duel between us two Mercedes drivers. Either myself or Lewis Hamilton will be champion in season 10 of the F1 journey, but we don't know who that's going to be. Sam is 4th in the championship with 173 points to his name, on 57 points behind us in the championship. Lando Norris jumps in front of Carlos Sainz to 5th in the championship now, on 132 points. Sainz on 125 points for them. Oscar Piastri is 7th in the championship, and he now breaks the 100-point barrier in this season. He's on 104 points, with Stoffel Van Dorn on 65 points, stays where he is, but Daniel Ricciardo closes in just a little bit on that. He's 59 points behind, and Charles Leclerc remains 10th in the championship for Audi on 56 points. And the final round of the season is the F1 Journey Brazilian Grand Prix. That is where we will find out whether I win yet another championship or Lewis Hamilton comes back and gets another Formula 1 World Championship to add to his collection. Now, looking at the Constructors' Championship, well, we've already wrapped up the Constructors. Us and Mercedes team were on 457 points, comfortably clear of the rest. And Porsche have pretty much, have actually solidified second now in the championship. So the top two have been decided, but the gap between Ferrari and McLaren is still enough for either team to clinch third in the championship. So they'll be going for it. Ferrari on 236 points, McLaren on 217 points. Red Bull are on 112 points, and if my maths is correct, they are solidified as 5th in the Constructors' Championship. So it's been a decent season for Red Bull. Audi are 6th in the championship on 75 points, pulling a little bit clear of Renault, who are on 61 points in the championship. Jaguar are on 36 points now, and BMW, by picking up that point here today, extend their lead over Aston Martin to 6 points now, which for those two backmarket teams is absolutely key heading into the final rounds of the season. But that is it for this US Grand Prix. Let's get straight into the post-race notebook and see how the teams and drivers reacted after this race. Taking a look at the post-race notebook, and Tom just beats Lewis Hamilton in what was an epic US Grand Prix with twists and turns and battles everywhere you looked. Meanwhile, Reese was inches away of snatching P2 in this Grand Prix, which would have put an even bigger twist on the World Drivers' Championship, as the Ferraris finished in P4 and P5 as they missed out on a podium. Toto Wolff was extremely happy that both his two drivers didn't crash into each other as the gloves were off here in Miami, but he was also very proud of the way that both his drivers battled, and was also proud of the way that Tom used his strategical mind in order to give himself the opportunity to win this Grand Prix. Meanwhile, the tension is not over at McLaren. In fact, it gets a little bit more worse for the team as Sam has come out and admitted that he is fed up of fighting Porsche, Ferrari and Mercedes all on his own, and he has called out Pato O'Ward to get some performances worth the team of McLaren. Now, of course, throughout the entirety of this Grand Prix, Pato O'Ward unfortunately looked like he'd suffered some form of damage early on in the Grand Prix and was just not at the races. Meanwhile, Sam was having to battle the likes of all of the teams, actually, of Porsche, Mercedes and Ferrari. All 6 of them was up against just himself, and he says that he just cannot do it when it is 2v1 in every single situation, and he is asking for Pato O'Ward to get a kick up the backside and start to help him out heading into the final race of the season, and if he even has a chance of staying at the team next season. But that is it for this US Grand Prix. We have one more race to go in the F1 journey. It is the Brazilian Grand Prix. The gap at the top of the championship is 4 points, with Tom taking the ascendancy heading into Interlagos. But we all know that F1 season finales can be dramatic. So will we see the same heading into next time around? Well, I'll see you guys very soon for that race. Take care all. Thanks for watching. Peace.